we have another day of shooting for real estate properties, and today I'm going to be going over the camera settings that we use when we shoot properties, so you can get that HDR merge and just get better detail. Again, a lot of issues some photographers experience is not being able to brighten the dark areas or darken the really bright areas like windows or overexposed lighting. So I'm going to show you the camera settings that you need to take a photo with in order to make that possible in your editing software. We use Lightroom and Photoshop, so stick around. We're going to get right into it. Also, giving my boy Luke Bohaneke from Avid Golf here in Winnipeg, Manitoba a shout out. Great hats, man. Great hats. We're headed down to the property right now, and it is a nice day. A little cloudy, a little overcast, but we're just doing photos today, so that's never really an issue because photos you can highly manipulate. Okay, so we've shown up to the property, and it is a newly renovated property, which is always nice. Makes it a little easier to shoot because everything looks good. You don't have to move furniture out of the way, and yeah, the photos are just gonna look really awesome. So, camera settings. This is what this video is about, so we're gonna dive right on into it so you get the meat and potatoes, baby. So, Canon T7i is what we're shooting with. And for photos, it works really well. For video, as in the last video we talked about, it's not the ideal camera, but we are getting the R6 soon, which I am pretty stoked about. But we're talking about photos. So when you're in photos, you want to shoot in AV mode. And the reason I shoot in AV mode is because it's auto shutter speed. So you don't have to manually put that in to what you want the shutter speed to be. The camera is just going to let you know automatically, and it's going to dial in that shutter speed. So you can control your aperture, how much light gets in, how much detail there is, and also the ISO. I always try to shoot 100 ISO with photos because it's just the most detail, the best lighting. You can shoot all the way up to, I believe on the T7i, 800. 400 or 800 is the native ISO for this camera. So it's gonna work, but 100 to me gets really good quality, so that's what I stick with. 200 if it's really low lighting. And the last piece of information you're gonna need to know is the auto exposure bracketing. So with auto exposure bracketing, what that is doing is that's going to take a photo at one stop lower exposure, lower light getting in, one neutral at where you wanted to take it, and then one point above. So what that's doing is taking 3 photos to make sure we get all the darks and all the brights. So when you have a really blown out window, this is how you recover from that and make it look like you can see through the window, just like you would be if you were standing in the house. It's going to be able to make us blend those 3 photos and make a really awesome end product to make it realistic. So let's dive on into the camera so we can show you the setups and just what to do to make it foolproof. Okay, so as mentioned, we're doing AV mode. Make sure we're on AV mode, so it's automatic shutter speed. We're on the camera settings, ISO. On your camera, it could be different. There's a little button here on the Canon T7i. I click ISO. And then for the aperture, 8.0 I find really does a good job. Anywhere honestly between 8 and 11 for your aperture, for your f-stop is gonna be perfect. It's gonna work out for you. So then what you wanna do is you wanna go into your menu, and then if you're sorting through here, it's on the camera until you see that. So exposure, comp, AEB, which is auto exposure bracketing. So you click on that, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna dial this down, and this camera only does 3 stops, but that's more than enough. Sometimes you might wanna do more than that, or take 2 separate 3 sets, which means the window, maybe you did this and the window is still overexposed, well then you dial it down and take 3 more at a lower exposure, just to make sure you get that detail. So then we click OK. Oh, just make sure that worked. Yep, that worked. So you click OK, and then when you're doing this, you can see that it has 3 little stops here, so it's gonna be taking 3 pictures. And on this camera, like I mentioned, if you wanted to lower the range it goes, okay, phone ran out of storage. So quickly get back to where we were with the auto exposure bracketing. So as I was mentioning, you can dial down these 3 notches. So these are the 3 exposures it's going to be taking. So if I dial those down, and how I do that is I click the AV plus or minus with the little dial here. It could be different on your camera. So we're clicking those at the same time and dragging that down, and then you can control if the room's really dark or if it's really bright, kind of what level you want to be at. So then you just click those, and I'll do a little example here. You heard it click 3 times, it takes 3 photos. Last piece of information I did not cover was you want it on a timer. A timer or a button or a clicker. So how I do that is you have to, oh, no. Over here you can see there's a multiple pictures, and I set it on a 2-second timer. I click OK. So when I click it, it gives me 2 seconds to let go of the camera on the tripod and take a smooth picture, because you don't want to have it instantly, because then your hands are going to shake. Even the littlest amount is not going to be good for the photos. So I hope that was valuable. The last thing, of course, make sure you have a tripod, something that holds the camera steady, and put on a filter. And that's for really sunny days when you get those really bright spots on hardwood floors or floors that are very reflective. The filter is going to drown that out and make it a lot easier in post-editing, and eliminate the difficult exposures that just don't necessarily look that good. Word mumble there. Anyway, thanks so much for sticking to the end of this video. If you're still watching, hope that helps with your photo taking, on the next real estate project that you have. Please like, share, and comment in the video description down below on what you want to hear next, and we'll keep bringing these videos to you once a week. So thanks again. We'll catch you on the next one. Ciao for now.